Hey, everybody. Oh, sorry. All right, everybody, welcome back. We're a little later than expected. I do apologize. So at this time, I would recall to order the meeting of the Suffern Central Board of Education for May 18th, 2021. And apparently I have to reread the exec agenda because when I did it before, the audio was bad. So I'm going to reread that now. So our motion to go into executive session was for the purposes of reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools and assistant superintendent for human resources, individual contract negotiations for 2021-2022, reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools and assistant superintendent of business, RFPs for school attorney and internal auditor, reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent for human resources and school attorney, employment history of pedagogical employee 05182021A, reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent of human resources and school attorney, employment history of non-pedagogical employee 05182021B, reviewing investigation results of allegations of misconduct by a school district officer. We don't have to vote on that again. We did vote on it earlier, just for reading them so that they're on record. And as I did in our initial call to order, I want to make another note again for those of you that are watching. Due to a rather interesting education law, we have a new board member tonight, and the reason for that is when Mr. Frazier filled the vacancy that was left on our board about 6 months ago. That vacancy lasted through the next board election, which quite literally means the next board election, not the next election cycle. So as a result, the vacancy now gets filled by the individual who received the most votes during last week's election, which happened to be Ms. Jen Hunt. So what that means for us and for everybody is that we have a new board member tonight who was sworn in just a few days ago by our district clerk, and she will be sworn in again at the reorg with the two other individuals for the full term. But for the next 6 weeks, Mr. Frazier gets a vacation, and Ms. Hunt gets thrown into the fire 6 weeks before she expected it. So again, I just wanted everybody who's watching, who might be a little bit. So that being said, please rise for the pledge. Of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay. All right, student report.
Okay, hi everyone. So we've got some quick updates for tonight. So first of all, History Honor Society will be hosting another Civics Day this year, and they're going to be including the middle school and elementary schools in the district. This will be taking place virtually on Tuesday, May 25th, and the theme of this lesson will be Memorial Day and the community. Senior prom tickets are currently being sold during unit lunch, and they can be purchased after school for remote students. This year's senior prom will be held at the Rockley on June 28th. And lastly, the virtual Evening of Excellence video will air on Wednesday, May 26th at 7 p.m. The Evening of Excellence honors seniors who have received a local scholarship, so congratulations to all recipients.
And additionally, we have some varsity sports updates. The baseball team won 9-2, the softball team won 4-5-1, and our girls lacrosse team won 8-1, and our boys lacrosse team also won 7-1. Our girls and boys track both currently undefeated, both won the Nanuet Relays Invitational last weekend, and our boys tennis team won 6-3, and our boys golf was 3-4, and our girls golf team won 7-0, and that's all that we have tonight.
Good job, guys.
Thank you, girls. Thank you, girls.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
1.08 minutes of the regular meeting of May 4th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Who's that? Oh, Mr. McKenzie. Second?
Second.
Dr. Nick Pond. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Any abstentions? Oh, you can abstain because you weren't in the meeting.
Oh,
Yes.
I abstain.
Okay, well, let's do a re-vote on that. Minutes of the regular meeting, do I have a motion?
Moved.
Mr. McKenzie, do I have a second?
Second.
Nick Pond. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Any abstentions?
Aye.
All right. .09 minutes of the special meeting of May 11th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Mr. Shapiro, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McKenzie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Ms. Hodge abstains. Okay, excellent. All right, well, at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce on behalf of the board and the district, our New York State Senator, Elijah Melnick, who is going to speak for a bit. I'm going to turn the mic over. Oh, you got the podium right there.
Well, is this where you want me? I don't know. Visually,
No, that's fine.
is this working?
Are you good there? We haven't had a podium set up here for a year because of the pandemic, so.
I never get to see
Yeah, I don't know where's the think it's supposed to go.
So, do I have to push this, by the way?
Yeah, just push the button, turn green.
So anyway, it is, we'll try to split between the camera and the board here. So it is, it's great to be here. Thank you so much, board chair and our acting superintendent for this invitation. I know it says address. I'm not going to make an address. I'm just going to talk for a minute or two. And I wanted to, I've been going around to the different schools in the district just to kind of update everybody on what's happened with the New York State budget as relates to education. So I came into office in January, and as I think many of you know, and I heard from the superintendent back then, and from districts all over Rockland, the governor had proposed a school budget which would have been terrible for Suffern and for districts all over New York State. He was proposing cuts in foundation aid, cuts in the expense-based aid, cuts to the STAR repayment program, proposing to take the money that the federal government was sending to schools and then offset that with corresponding cuts from New York State. And so pushing back against that and getting a school budget that was going to work for the kids and the teachers and the families in Suffern and in districts all over Rockland and New York was a priority, not just for me, but for so many people in the legislature. And so I'm just delighted that in the final budget that we passed in April, it includes significant restorations. Pretty much all of the governor's proposed cuts restored. These cuts that he proposed to take all of the building aid and the other expense-based aids, lump them together and cut that number, that was rejected. And then the big win, of course, for districts like Suffern is the foundation aid number, which has been, for those who may be watching who don't know, foundation aid is the major state funding program that sends money from New York to try to equalize funding for local districts so that taxpayers don't have to be on the hook for the full cost of public education. And for so many years, New York has had this program in place and has never really funded it the way that it needs to be funded. And so this year, we finally in the legislature did make that commitment and put foundation aid in $1.37 billion across New York State, a guarantee for every district to get 60% of what is owed this year, 80% the next, and 100% the year after. And so I know in Suffern, I just want to make sure I get the number right, foundation aid increase of over 22% for Suffern, which was one of the largest in, I think it was beyond North Rockland, probably the largest in Rockland County. Nanuet saw a big one as well, but those three districts, that is an increase of over $2.3 million coming from New York State in foundation aid to Suffern this year. That gets the district up to about 65 to 66% of what's owed. And so the prediction will be then that next year, as we phase in from 60 to 80%, we should see additional revenues coming back to Suffern as well. And then the year following, 80% to 100% foundation aid further. That's always been my priority. I actually started my career teaching elementary school in a public school. And so schools and our education system is one of the reasons I got into politics and got into government. And so that's going to be my priority. And again, I don't take sole credit for this. I mean, maybe a politician is supposed to take sole credit for things, but this was a team effort from a large number of people in the state legislature who made this, this year, schools have gone through so much. Teachers have gone through so much. Students have had to learn remotely to figure out new ways of doing this. Families trying to balance childcare and work and everything like that. So I think the state understood this year, maybe in a way they should have understood years ago, but finally did, how critical it is to support schools in doing what you do. And I think that's why we saw this major change this year and this major improvement in funding, which I think will be sustained in the years to come because we've improved our revenue base in the state of New York to be able to afford this. And I think there's not really much more valuable that we can do with the money that we get as a state, but support our districts and support education. So happy to take any questions from anybody here, but just wanted to give you that update on the state budget.
Well, thank you very much for that. Thank you for taking the time and for, some of us on the board and, administrators, we understand foundation aid a little bit more than, maybe somebody who's not deeply involved. And, so I appreciate, you speaking tonight and, for those at home that are watching, I'm sure it was very insightful. Does anybody have any questions for the senator?
Easy ones. Thank you for everybody. And I guess I also just wanted to add, Suffern has dealt with more tragedy this year than any district should ever have to deal with. And so as I've seen just these horrible stories and things that have happened, I've been keeping the district in my thoughts. I know people, I've heard from colleagues in the state Senate who don't even represent anywhere near Suffern who heard about what's happened and losing 3 students and have come up to me and said, we see what you're going through and our thoughts are with Suffern as well. And so hope that the rest of the school year will be as good as it can be. And, we get on through the summer and have a more normal and just an all around more positive year next year.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Uh, 1.11, acting superintendent comments.
So thank you to State Senator Reichlin-Millen for joining us this evening. I'd also like to thank our community for coming out and voting for our budget last week. It is sort of an annual renewal of faith in our community and mostly our community's faith in us. So really pleased and appreciative of our community, overwhelmingly in very consistent fashion, supporting our budget, supporting our students, and it's very much appreciated. I want to shout out a couple of students who have some athletic achievements worth mentioning. One of them just happened today. Sean Stead won the boys Rockland County Golf Championships. So Sean is the county champion for golf. Way to go, Sean. And many of you, I'm sure, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but I want to mention it anyway. Cleb Lubin last week was recognized by Gatorade as the New York State Football Player of the Year. So that's a very, very received this honor. It basically says that he was the best football player in New York State this year. We think so, and we wish Clem all the best as he continues his career at West Point. One other mention, this year I've talked a lot about the marigolds. The marigolds was an idea that started for me on the opening day meeting with teachers. I talked about marigolds being a companion plant in a garden. A marigold is a plant that helps the other plants grow. And I talked to our teachers at the beginning of the year, and this is a year we need to lean on each other. And so we had our monthly marigolds program where staff had the opportunity to recognize other staff who had supported them and helped them grow. Over the course of the 8 or 9 months that we did it, we had over 250 staff members nominated by their colleagues as marigolds. They all received a lovely certificate. And then this week, we have been, I donated a flat of marigolds to each of our school buildings, and I have been going around and planting the marigolds with the students in most of our buildings to honor all of the recipients of the Marigold Award. So it's been a really nice sort of full circle, full year event that recognizes our amazing supportive staff and beautifies our buildings, helps other plants grow, and it should be just, it's just really pretty. If you see them, it'll brighten your day when you see those happy looking marigolds.
Thanks.
That's it.
All right, thank you. You're definitely short ones. All right, thank you very much. 1.12, public participation. This is public participation on action items only. Anybody wishes to make any comments at this time? I don't know if you have anything to be read.
I don't have any.
All right, we'll close that portion of the meeting and we'll move on to action items. So we have action items 2.01 through 2.21. I would call at this time for a consent agenda. Is there anything that anybody wishes to pull at this time? No? Okay, this will be an easy one. So this will be a consent agenda for action items 2.01 through 2.21. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Dr. Nick Khan, there a second?
Second.
Mr. McKenzie? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Hodges abstaining. All right. Okay, 3.01, strategic planning update. So I'm going to turn this over to you. I'm going to repeat yesterday.
We are going to repeat yesterday, but we're going to do it a lot faster. Last night, we unveiled the steering committee for the strategic plan, unveiled our draft strategic plan to the community that can be found on Suffern Streams on our YouTube channel. It is a lovely, I think it's a 48-minute presentation and then some questions. So we're going to really go through it very quickly this evening, but we want to share it directly with the board and have another opportunity to folks to see it. I'm going to move over there just so I can see the screen at the same time that I'm talking. So this, we're going to talk about the strategic planning process. We're going to review key elements of the draft plan and let everybody know that there is an opportunity for feedback from the community. Our new strategic plan is designed as a guiding document that enables us to prioritize district actions and initiatives. It was developed by engaging key district stakeholders and the broader community, and it contains 4 main parts: the mission and vision, the theory of action, strategic priorities, and measurable goals. And this is like my favorite graph here. I wanted to go back to it last night, actually. So the first 3 lines are what the work that was done this year. So the mission and vision, the theory of action, and the priorities and measurable goals. That was the work that the steering committee worked on this year. Next year, we will start on the specific initiatives and action steps that will bring this plan to life. So this year was a planning year. It sort of sets the compass. It tells us where we're going, what our goals are, where we want to end up. The kind of how we get there is the initiatives and action steps that'll be addressed next year. And so this was the same presentation we used last night. The important thing is we are sharing the plan tonight. And if you have any comments or questions, you're free to, everyone is free to email those to strategicplan@suffernCentral.org. Okay, I think Mr. Curran,
All right, I'm not going to jump in here.
yeah.
I'm actually going to come to the podium so that I don't, see me right in front of the thing. So the planning, the steering committee was put together with representation from, pretty much all the cross sections of our community. There are board members, there are PTA council members, there are administrators, staff members, principals. And it was extremely important to us to have individuals that were going to bring different ideas and different backgrounds to our plan. So here we are, this slide, really what we're saying here is you can't develop a 5-year plan without understanding how we got to where we are. So, we analyze the data, we look at all the statistics for where we are today, and, we reviewed, what we need to, what changes we need to make, and I don't mean changes in a bad way, but what changes we need to make based on our current state to develop a proper strategic plan for the next 5 years. Again, this highlights how important it was for us and for this plan to be successful by having that cross-section of people. So when you look at these blue bubbles, it's the teachers and support staff, it's the student involvement, it's all the people that were brought in to provide that insight and to guide our new plan going forward so that it caters to the success of everybody in this district. So here we are, again, your fast facts, average class size for grades 3 to 12 is about 17. Our attendance rate is pretty good, right? 94%. What you do see down below is almost a third of our student snapshot is what is considered to be economically disadvantaged. 15% of our students have a disability in one way or another. Almost 10% are English as a new language student. These are changes for Suffern that we recognize as having to be, they have to be looked at and they have to be accommodated so that everybody, regardless of their economic status, their background, is successful here in Suffern. Our strengths, right? This is what we all looked at on our steering committee as the strengths of Suffern that we could build upon. Passionate and committed staff. Again, that's something that anybody who's gone through our schools or anybody that lives here or works in our schools knows that we have. We have a very passionate and committed staff. Academic enrichment opportunities. You know, we provide our students here with probably the most robust programs of any district nearby. Instructional technology. We've invested heavily in our instructional technology and getting all our students on one-to-one devices. Resource allocation, okay? Again, focused on using their resources to go above and beyond. I think that every teacher in our district goes above and beyond, and I think every parent would say the same. And, you know, and COVID-19 learning, you know, while this is not something that necessarily is part of a 5-year plan as it relates to COVID, but COVID did open our eyes to a lot of things moving forward. And, you know, we responded and transitioned appropriately. I think that Suffern did a phenomenal job with our COVID-19 learning. And, you know, the feedback we received has been very positive. And I think we learned a lot from how we handled COVID this year to guide us forward in a lot of other areas.
We've had a mission and a vision in Suffern for a number of years, the same mission and vision. And so one of the first things the committee did was to look at an updated mission statement. And so this is our updated mission statement. The mission of the district is to educate students in the critical skills and essential knowledge necessary to be informed, responsible, and active citizens prepared to take the next steps in their education, careers, and lives in our diverse society. And that's a really packed sentence, and I can assure you that every word in that sentence was discussed and tossed around and wordsmithed, but it really ends in the end captures what the information we had from the focus groups and the opinions of the steering committee members. We also updated our vision, and you know, it has always, for a very long time, the tagline in Suffern has been educating for personal excellence. You see it's even right here on this poster next to me. But it wasn't actually a part of our formal vision. So the first thing we decided to do was put it there. It's a tagline that everyone in the district uses and everyone knows, and so we wanted to make sure it had its place. And then we did some further updates to the vision, mostly streamlined it a bit. It's significantly more concise than it was previously, but still meaningful. Students will be prepared for success in society through authentic learning opportunities designed to support individual differences while focusing on the belief that all students are capable learners. All schools, staff, families, and the community will work together to educate students in a safe and secure environment and provide a high-quality educational experience that emphasizes achievement, social emotional well-being, and personal responsibility. And we felt that, again, that was quite wordsmithed and talked about, and we felt that it really captures, you know, what we see Suffern to be. So next we worked on a theory of action, which says that if we commit to the following, if we commit to student success and family engagement and fiscal responsibility, we will be able to achieve our mission.
And here, this slide, which is really the last slide before you get into the real meat and potatoes of the plan, is the core themes that the committee created, and these are the themes that you're going to see elaborated on as we go through this presentation. Academic success for all students, social, emotional learning and support, family and community engagement, staff development and support, and targeted resource use. All 5 of these themes are what is going to drive our strategic plan and drive our district forward for the next 5 years.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about those themes. And as Matt mentioned, there are 5 of them. The first one is academic success for all students. and we can maintain a culture of high expectations and academic success grounded in authentic learning experiences so that each and every student is prepared for success in society. So what does that success look like? We discussed that we will ensure all students receive cognitively demanding curriculum and programs that will prepare them for post-secondary education, career opportunities, and lifelong success. Additionally, we will provide a rigorous, culturally relevant pedagogy that challenges all of our students and responsibly addresses the needs of all of our student populations. So let's talk a little bit now about what those goals would be and what we can measure to achieve that. To measure the progress in priority number 1, academic success for all students, we are looking to increase the percentage of classes that have incorporated culturally responsive pedagogy in their curriculum, increase the percentage of students who enroll in accelerated, honors, or AP courses, increase the percentage of diverse learners who enroll and achieve proficiency in accelerated, honors, or AP courses, increase the percentage of students who score proficient or above on ELA and math assessments, and close the achievement gap for diverse learners who score below proficient on the ELA and math assessments. Our second priority involves social and emotional learning and support. And we want to ensure that all students feel emotionally supported while also developing resiliency and strength of character necessary for life. So what does that look like? We're going to integrate social and emotional and behavioral learning into daily instruction by proactively addressing students' needs and connecting social emotional learning to academics. We commit to providing a supportive, respectful, and safe environment so that all students feel emotionally supported at school. We're going to measure the success on that in various ways as well. We want to increase the percentage of students who report feeling welcome at school, increase the percentage of classrooms that have integrated the Yale EI ruler tools into their curriculum, increase the percentage of students who report having at least one adult they feel they can talk to at school, increase the percentage of students who report that their school encourages them to make positive choices, decrease the percentage of students who are chronically absent, and decrease the in-school and out-of-school suspension rates. The third priority I'll talk about is family and community engagement, and we are committing as a district to frequent, purposeful, and bilingual two-way communication and engagement with families and community members. We will proactively communicate with parents, families, and community members so they are well informed of student progress, upcoming events, our priorities, and any necessary updates. We will also ensure that all parents, families, community members, and partner organizations are connected to the district as longtime supporters and partners in the education of our students. So we have several ways we will measure that as well. We want to increase the percentage of parents and families who feel informed about what's happening in their child's school, increase the percentage of parents and families who report feeling connected to the school, increase the percentage of families who believe our school leaders help families to become partners in the education of children, increase the percentage of families who believe our schools support their child in making positive choices, increase the percentage of multilingual parents and families who report that the messages provided to them by the district are clear, and increase the percentage of families who respond that teachers contact them not only in times of concern. Now we have two more priorities to cover, and Mr. Schleifer will cover those.
Thank you very much. Staff development and support. Suffern Central will support, recruit, and develop staff to best support the academic and social emotional needs of all students. What does staff development and support look like? Suffern Central will provide staff with personalized and differentiated professional learning tied to the academic, social, emotional, family, community engagement, strategic priorities, ensuring staff continue to grow professionally, increase their cross-cultural competency, and increase student achievement and engagement. How will we measure the progress? by increasing the percentage of staff who indicate that professional development improves instruction and student learning, increasing the percentage of staff that indicate who feel well prepared to deliver and integrate social emotional learning, increasing the percentage of staff who indicate they feel prepared to differentiate for their students with IEPs and ENL students. Also by increasing the percentage of employees who indicate that their talent and work is recognized. And last, increasing recruitment and hiring of staff from backgrounds that reflect student demographics, including more bilingual employees and teachers of color. Targeted resource use. Suffern Central will target the use of resources towards the district's academic, social, emotional, and family and community engagement strategic priorities in order to balance efficiency and high-quality education. What does that look like? Suffern Central will make strategic budgeting decisions that focus resources towards educationally sound, research-backed initiatives to meet the needs of students, staff, and families. Suffern Central will promote fiscal responsibility at the school and district levels. How will we measure the progress? By ensuring all initiatives and resources in the operational budget support the academic, social, emotional, and/or family and community engagement priorities. By measuring the effectiveness of resource use through evaluations of new or existing staffing and programming. Now for community feedback. You can email us your thoughts, questions, and feedback, again, to strategicplan@sufferncentral.org. We thank you so much for providing any feedback, and we will get back to you with an email for your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. To board members, do you have any questions or comments?
A lot of work went into that. Thank you. Thank you all.
I will say that we got a few questions on the second streams last night, and they were definitely in the operational zone of how are we going to do this. So now that we have this terrific plan that was, put together by the input of so many, it really gives us a great guide as to where we're going. And we'll be working next year to make it happen. Well,
yes. Yes, it's on. As a parent, I don't think I ever got a call from a teacher unless one of my daughters did something that she should not have done. So I think that by teachers contacting families, not when there's an area of concern, but to basically give the child a shout out is just a super idea. I think as a parent, I would have loved to have gotten those. Maybe my wife answered the phone and I never did. Maybe that was the problem. But I just think it's great. I think that will definitely make the families feel really good that I'm getting a call from the school, but it's not because my child did something that maybe he or she shouldn't have done. But the teacher wanted me to know that my child was a marigold today. And then when the child finds out that the teacher called, and instead of going, uh-oh, my teacher called, the child is going to say, really? That's what he or she said about me? And then the child goes back to school the following day, and they have a whole new outlook about the teacher. And that is just going to make things better for the child. So it's going to make the teacher feel good, the parents feel good. Everything now is like a positive. Maybe I'm being a little bit Pollyannish, which I've been accused of many times. But I just think it's great. So positive phone calls would be so welcome. So kudos. As Tommy said, really, it is a lot of work. And for all the wordsmithing that was done, it came out great. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Anybody has any other comments or any questions? I would just like to say, I said it last night, a lot of us said it last night, that I am and was and am honored to be part of the steering committee. And I know that a lot of, most of the individuals who were part of the committee were on the streams last night speaking, about various slides. And most of them are not in our meeting tonight. So again, for everybody watching and for all of those that, worked on this with me and with Lee and with Angus, I just want to say thank you. Again, thank you. All right. That's good. 6.01, board member comments.
I want to say thank you to the community for the overwhelming support, to the board for the super warm welcome, and staff here for the same warm welcome. And thank you so much, and I really look forward to the purchase of this.
Matt, I have something to say too.
Yes.
I'm having trouble with my camera, so I can't really, I can't make it work. But
you sound a little bit low.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
It's a little better, yeah.
So I just wanted to say welcome to Jen Panico Hodge. Her and I know each other a very long time. We went to school together, and I think she's going to be a welcome addition to the board. And I wanted to say congratulations to her on winning the election. I also wanted to say thank you to Senator Melnick for his continued advocacy to our district and for our state. And I would also like to say congratulations to Clef Lubin for his Gatorade New York State Player of the Year. It's, I think, the first time probably in the history of Suffern High School that we've had such a distinction for one of our football players. And it's a huge thing, and I'm very, very proud of him and our football team. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angus.
Anything else? Anybody else want to have comments?
I was just going to say thanks to Steve, Pat. I'm sorry. You see, I don't need the microphone. Steve, thank you for the fantastic work on the budget. Great job to you and your staff. I want to thank the people for getting out there and voting and passing the budget. We went through it at 73%, I believe it was 72%. So thank you for the support, and I think this board is going to work hard to keep things going forward. I think it's evident tonight from what we saw. So thank you all.
All right. I'm just going to make one quick note, which is like, it's a surprise, but it's not. It's all over Facebook anyway. But, for those of you that don't know or don't go on Facebook, today is Lee Weber's birthday. So I'm going to say happy birthday.
Thank you. It's been a lovely day, full of meetings. I wouldn't have wanted to spend it any other way.
Well, it was nice outside.
It was.
It's a shame you didn't get to enjoy it.
And I will tell you, I have spent many, many a birthday in the rain, but so today was a beautiful day.
No, not yet. That was it.
Okay. So I just have two quick comments. I want to welcome Mrs. Hodge to the board.
Oh. Trying to get out here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out here quick.
Yes.
All right. Public participation on district-related business, non-action items. Nothing. Anybody in the public? Okay. All right. Close that. Floor is yours.
All right. Welcome again, Mrs. Hodge. And my only other reminder is tomorrow is a 2-hour delay for students. Staff will use that time for continued professional development, and as they are still continuing to teach in the hybrid environment, we have a little time for them built in when we came back 5 days a week to allow them to continue to move forward with the hybrid environment. So the first of the 2 2-hour days is tomorrow, and then the other one on June 2nd. That's it.
Okay. Okay. All right, well, that'll wrap it up for tonight. Our next board meeting will be in 2 weeks, Tuesday, June 1st. And it should be as quiet as this one, I hope. On that note, I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion? Dr. Nickton, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Shapiro. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Anybody want to stay? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see. Oh, and enjoy your Memorial